Things that are passed along. I've written about this on my webpage in the past. Musashi also spoke of it. It was also spoken of in various other books from the past. People say, what is things that are passed along? Well, I'm going to tell you about that today. This is Jim Keating. Welcome to our little audio podcast here. And I'm going to talk about things that are passed along because they're incredibly true. They're incredibly accurate. And if you haven't picked up on them, I think it's something that you'll have fun with using your powers of observation, your powers as a warrior of stalking of yourself and others, and just kind of bringing this into a sharp focus for a week or two in your life. Passing things along means like a flu bug. One person gets it, another gets it. Well, now, that can be used in many ways, both good and bad. Depends how you look at it in context. I think one of the easiest things that people grasp is yawning. That when one individual yawns, someone sees or hears that, then the next guy yawns. I was watching a video on YouTube long ago. I don't know who put it up or why or how I got there. They sent it to me. But someone sent it to me, but it was of children in like either kindergarten or a preschool. And evidently they were playing or something, and one of the children were sick or something. And anyway, this child vomited. He threw up. Well, it was only a few seconds, and another one threw up. Well, it was only a few seconds, then two more threw up. People say, well, it was probably food poisoning. No, it was just being passed along. Once somebody smells that smell of vomit, especially children, and they see the other child upchucking, it's just like nature. That child wishes to do it, then the next one. And pretty soon there were a whole room full of kids throwing up, and it was crazy. But that was an ideal example of how it works in herds, and how it works in coupling like that, just so quickly. And people think, well, yeah, there could have been a sickness. Well, it works the same way with yawning, and nobody is sick there. And I'll tell you one that's super destructive, and that's why you must purge it from your squad or your group, and that is fear. Fear and nervousness. They also can be passed along. It's a saying that used to be used, one bad apple spoils the barrel. What does this mean? Well, fruit gives off gases. So let's say you bruise an apple as you're loading this barrel full of apples to store them for a winter. You bruise one, you don't handle it roughly, you go easy. So whoever this was handled it roughly, put it in the bottom. Starts giving off the gas. Well, all those apples around it go mushy. Well, that's passing something along to the other apples. Now, because of this one bruised apple, you've lost 20 apples. If this was your food supply for the winter, this is not so good. So we see fear and nervousness, this type of behavior is passed along. That is that one bad apple. The guy who cannot control himself, well, even if the other fellows can control themselves on the team, they start picking up on that vibe. They get nervous. Then next turns to fear. Now they're wringing their hands instead of loading their magazines. Well, there it is. Now they're thinking about, let's get out of here, versus we need to finish this mission. Because something was passed along. This is why psychologically the enemy may or may not do things that bring about this nervousness and fear. Even if they cannot touch you with a bullet or bomb or any hand, they can put a suggestion into your mind that will allow this fear, just like that fruit, that bad apple, that is now giving off that gas, that vibe. Well, this will kick in. You have to see it, monitor this, and realize how destructive to the self that it is, and particularly to groups, businesses, squads. Entire armies can pick up on this. It's demoralizing. But this is psychological, or is it spiritual? But it goes beyond the physical. The speed that it can spread through a group is just amazing. As we're speaking about this now, you may even have some thoughts in your mind when you have seen something like this in action. Medical people see it, as I said, through cases and veterinary cases of anthrax, other things that passed along quickly. But this is a known science. This is a bacteria, a bug of some kind. What we're speaking about is a disease of the mind, the heart, the spirit that brings people into this. And again, not looking at it as how it can damage us and be used against us. I think we already know about that. What I would like you to consider is, how can things that can be passed along be turned into your advantage? How can you learn to manipulate circumstance, make suggestion, set the stage that will create that in those that you wish to create it in? Perhaps like an enemy group or an opposing business or something like this. How can you make them doubt their own product? Well, by passing things along through subliminal suggestions. Through subliminal signals of the voice, the intent, and this is a high art. Now, we know that subliminal messages, there's been many books written about this, subliminal messages do occur. There are things like hypnotic writing where things can be passed along. We are recently, in this week alone, we saw something about TikTok. People who are on TikTok a lot are now getting like Tourette's syndrome. They're losing control of their body. People, the authorities, the people looking at this, don't understand how this is possible. How is this possible? It's something that is being passed through the internet and yet is making physical effects, Slenderman, on people. Yeah, I said Slenderman, right. And it's damaging them. Well, what the hell is it? It's not a joke, it's concern. Well, that's being passed along. And without anybody touching, without anybody doing anything, this is simply occurring, one to the other, to the other. Very, very amazing. So these type of things catch my attention because as being a warrior, as we are stalkers. People say, well, does that mean you're looking to follow people? And that's a different type of stalker. That's like 2020, you know. And they do all that crap, you know, people who stalk people. And this is different. A warrior is a stalker in the sense of a hunter. A very, very aware individual that follows their instinct, who has the eye and ear and the ability to spot these signs of something that is being passed along. And if you start looking and become skilled at this, you will find that from the things you trust, the grocery stores you go to, the music you listen to, straight up, dude, you being manipulated. You are being constantly herded, corralled, pushed, and you don't know it. No, you say, no, I'm free, I can do. No. Because we're living in a sea of things that can be passed along. Right now is COVID, right? Everybody's like, I don't want to be sick, and yeah, well, that's passed along. But it was all right when you were smoking a joint with all those hippies back in the day and hepatitis and all that bullshit. Nobody gave a shit, did you? You went ahead and smoked one. But now this passed along and you're aware of it. Oh, shit. Yeah, it's always been there. It's just now you've been made aware of it. The awareness of being aware of it was passed along, where before it was always there, but your awareness was not passed along through the media, the social media, beaten into your head every night on 6 o'clock news. All your relatives yammering about it in your ear. Yeah, that's passed along. These fucking monsters have really done their job good, eh? They understood how to pass things along, and they fucking did. And now half the world is insane because of it. I remember that Captain America issue I love so well. I still have it. Mad Bomb. Captain America racing through the streets, shield held high. Everyone around him in America had gone nuts. The Mad Bomb. Yeah, we're there, man. It's no joke. Thanks, Stan Kirby. That was a great one. I still have that cover. And its idea's always been out there, you know. The witch trials, they said it was ergot. The wheat, you know, the wheat was poisoned and went rotten. Ooh, things that can be passed along. You mean the gas from other bad wheat? Yeah, it got wet, and then it made all the other wheat, which created LSD. And when all them pilgrims were eating it and stuff, they all started seeing witches and having experiences. Shit that can be passed along. And pretty soon it went like wildfire through the colonies, and they were just burning innocent women for no reason because, well, that's what they were doing. That's why it's called mob rule. Things that can be passed along. Mass media, mob rule. We don't give a fuck what's right or wrong. The only thing we give a fuck about is what we want. And we're going to hang this motherfucker. Mob rule. Was he guilty? Doesn't matter. We want to hang somebody. These things are passed along. Madness. It can be passed along. You ever notice that you can be a sane person in a house with 2 or 3 insane motherfuckers, and they don't get saner? You get more insane. You got to get out of there or they drive you nuts. Insane cannot be healed by sane, but sane can be completely switched to insane by being around insane. Insane can be passed along. Madness can be passed along. Sanity cannot. Sanity must be earned. So consider you warriors who stalk things, who observe the powers of your observation. Right? Observational psychology. I watch your micro expressions. I listen to your words. I look what's in your eyes. I watch the gestures of your hands and how you move your body. Observational psychology, and see what is being passed along, you stalkers. Use those powers, negate this, and pass along other things that you wish to be and see happen. As I said, this has been weaponized against us. It always has been. But you can neutralize it in your own world, and you can weaponize things back. And this is how we do things. And some people will say this is propaganda and all. No, that's just one little slice of it. We're talking the greater scale of life here, the full spectrum. Shit that can be passed along as easy as a summer breeze, and no one even realizes it. Bam, I got you. That's so subtle. And that's why Musashi advised us to study it and be aware of it, because it is one of the most deadly things to be used against us, and one of the most subtle and powerful things that we can use in our own defense. It can literally create miracles out of nothing. All right, I'll leave this in your hands. Do with it what you will. I'm Jim Keating. I'm passing this along.